Hi, my name is Beyonsia, and this is my August monthly reflection for short fiction. Okay, so in this class in August, the first week, we've actually covered a lot of things and a lot of topics. For starters, we've learned about narration and point of view. I've learned that each story is being told by a narrator and it goes in their point of view. For example, like Richard Wright, we learned about him. Like we read one of his stories and his story was being told in his point of view, like how he grew up, like post-slavery, like how it was still segregation and racism for him. So however, how he tells us how his story is written is basically how he viewed his life. We've also been learning about a lot of coming of age stories, which I really like because like I feel like I'm coming of age, like from a teenager to like young adulthood, like early 20s. So I kind of like, in a sense, in a way, relate somewhat, kind of, in certain aspects, but not completely. I don't relate completely to the stories because, yeah, it's a little crazy. Honest, the topics and stuff, I found the narration topic very compelling and about setting and stuff because it's really helped me understand for the stories that I've read so far in class. My favorite text, well, honestly, is actually all of them, sort of, besides the one we read today, or yesterday, I should say. I don't really like that one because I honestly didn't understand. But my favorite one, surprisingly, is Who Will Meet You at Home. I really love that story. Like, it's crazy. Like, honestly, it's kind of like horror, and I honestly hate horror, but I really love that story. Like, it shows, like, social class, like, how people struggle. I like how, like, Ogechi, like, I mean, even though she does some wrong things, like, how her drive and her passion to become a mother, like, she wants to be a mom so bad, and, like, the things she'll do, even though, like, it's wrong, but it's, like, I just like the drive and the passion of her, like, that's just really great. And like mama and like the old lady, the mom lady, like everybody in my class, I talked about this today, everybody in my class thinks that she's a bad person. I don't think she's a bad person, honestly. I think she's more of a businesswoman. Might not be the right way to go, but I mean, you can't always be nice when you're trying to run a business and do certain things. The other story I like was the story with Dave and him, like with the gun and trying to become an adult. I think that was a really good story. Like the way he went about things again might not have been the correct way, but with all the pressures that he had to go through, like in his childhood, he probably didn't have that. So it makes sense why he wants to be like that, and why like I think it just helps like it helps me look at my life. Honestly, the stories that we've read helps me look at my life the most so far. Like when you didn't grow up a certain type of way, like how you act is based off of how you've grown up, and like so it makes sense why they act like that. Previous readings, like every story, like Tim has actually went back on this, reminds me of our intro to lit class when we learned about the story of the hour. Honestly, all of our stories compare to that story in a way, and I'm honestly so glad that I read this story. I read that story and paid attention because I would be so lost in class. The questions I still have, honestly, and the part that I struggle the most with, I want to say, would have to be like annotations, because when I do annotations, like usually I'm like writing out like what I don't understand, questions, words that I don't know. And like for Tim, like he pushes us to look deeper and do different things. Like he asks us questions, the question that we're not thinking about asking, or maybe the questions I am thinking about asking, but I don't want to ask it because I don't know. Or like not necessarily because I don't know, because that's a yes question. What I mean, like, sorry, Tim, my head is really itching right now. What I mean is like the questions I'm scared to ask, you ask them, so it makes me think deeper. Like instead of just reading through the passage and like, okay, I'll just fill out such and such, you actually make me have to pay attention to what I'm reading so that I know how to answer these questions. Like I kind of like that you took the brakes off, but not really. It's like, okay, now I actually have to do all this different stuff. But I like it because it pushes me to become better in my reading and what I'm doing. And these short stories are really great, actually. Like, I think we should continue them. The annotations are good. I just think I miss the questions because it helps me. But I think that might be it. Oh, how would I use material to minister in my life? I will honestly use this class. I think ministering annotations are really good help for you to minister in your life to me, because I can do annotations in anything I do, if I'm being completely honest. Like you annotate a lot of things in your life, we just don't realize it, but we actually do. So I think I can use that. The stories help me in my life because it helps me understand like I'm not the only person going through these things. Like, other people, even in stories, are going through these things, like them trying to figure out themselves and everything like that. So that's really helping me. And I just honestly, like, I just want to continue learning about this. I'm actually very interested. And that's a surprise for me, because usually I am not interested in like reading all the time. But I'm actually interested in reading the stories. Like, each class is a different story, a different thing that I'm learning about. And I just want to see like how it can relate to me or the people around me, for me to be able to help everyone and help other people. Like, it can help in my psychology and help in my future profession, like how to know how to help people and things like that. So yeah, I just hope to continue to learn more, and that's it.